In a small town nestled between verdant hills, there lived a man named Samuel. For as long as he could remember, motivation had eluded him. He was a gentle soul with a kind heart, but his life felt stagnant, like a car that could start but never truly move. Samuel dreamt of achieving great things, wanting to paint, to write, to explore the world. But each time he tried to delve into a new pursuit, he would inevitably find himself stuck, lost in procrastination or paralyzed by self-doubt. One chilly winter afternoon, Samuel decided to take a walk and clear his mind. He stepped out into the crisp air, the ground crunching beneath his feet, and, as he wandered along the slightly winding path, he came upon an old bench under an ancient oak tree. This tree, with its gnarled branches and sprawling roots, captivated him. It stood tall, with leaves that shimmered like gold in the weak sunlight. He took a seat and looked out across the horizon, hoping to find clarity or inspiration. As Samuel sat quietly, lost in thought, an elderly gentleman approached. He had a gentle smile, warm eyes, and a presence that radiated calmness. The man sat down beside him, and after a moment of silence, he spoke. "You look deep in thought. What weighs on your mind?" Samuel sighed, feeling an inexplicable connection to this stranger. "I struggle with motivation. I've begun countless projects, but I never finish them. It's like I'm stuck in neutral, and I don't know how to shift into gear." The old man pondered for a moment. "Let me tell you a story," he said, his voice soft but steady. He recounted a tale from his youth about a young artist aspiring to paint the perfect landscape. Every day, she would set up her easel by the river and attempt to capture the beauty around her. But each time she laid brush to canvas, she found herself dissatisfied with her work. She would paint for hours and then abandon her piece in frustration. Her friends encouraged her, telling her that the beauty of her work lay in the effort, not in perfection, but she could not see it that way. Undeterred, the artist sought wisdom from a wise elder in her village. She explained her plight, and the elder listened patiently before replying. "What holds you back is not the need to create something perfect, but rather your fear of being less than extraordinary. Let go of that fear and embrace the act of creation itself." The young artist reflected on the elder's words and decided to change her approach. She began to paint just for the joy of it, focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Each time she felt self-doubt creep in, she reminded herself that the journey of creating was beautiful in itself. Over time, her work began to flourish, and she completed pieces that resonated deeply with those who viewed them. In letting go of her fear, she found both joy and motivation. The old man looked at Samuel, whose eyes were wide with realization. "You see, my friend, it is the act of doing that will bring you the motivation you seek. It's not the destination that defines you, but the journey you take to get there. So start creating freely without the weight of expectation." Samuel took a moment to absorb the story. Time had passed quickly as he listened to the elder's words, and the sun had begun to dip below the horizon, casting an array of hues across the sky. Something inside him stirred. Perhaps he had been looking at his creative endeavors in the wrong light. With a newfound determination, Samuel thanked the old man and made his way home. That night, he dusted off his old sketchbook, grabbed a pencil, and began to draw. He allowed himself to express whatever came to mind, from the peculiar shapes of furniture in his living room to the twinkling stars outside his window. The fear of perfection faded as he lost himself in the flow of creativity. Days turned into weeks, and Samuel felt an exhilarating energy surging through him. He began to build upon his drawings, slowly realizing that art was not meant to be flawless. Each sketch became a stepping stone for him, a moment of self-expression, exploration, and most importantly, completion. He started to write short stories as well, diving into the worlds of imagination and characters that previously lived only in his mind. But Samuel's journey did not stop there. He explored the beauty of the world around him, becoming a keen observer of life. The laughter of children playing, the dance of the wind in the trees, the complexity of human connections. He took every opportunity presented to him. An invitation to a local art show, a chance to perform his poetry at a spoken word event, or simply sitting in a cafe, pen in hand, waiting for inspiration. In time, his efforts bore fruit. Samuel organized his first gallery exhibit showcasing his artwork, which he had once thought impossible. The night of the exhibit, he stood nervously by his pieces, surrounded by friends, family, and strangers who came to appreciate his work. The conversations he had that night opened his heart further and ignited depths of creativity he hadn't thought existed in him. People approached him, sharing their own stories of challenges and dreams, confirming that struggle was part of the human condition, connecting everyone in their quest for meaning and purpose. As he smiled and laughed with them, Samuel realized that motivation was not merely individual. It was a collective force that thrived in shared experiences, in listening to one another and in supporting each other through the ups and downs of life. Months passed, and Samuel's journey of self-discovery continued. He found that every project he began now held a renewed sense of possibility, not weighed down by an artificial need for perfection, but rather fueled by the excitement of bringing something new into the world. He learned to take breaks, to embrace the messiness of life, to celebrate small victories, and to let go of anything that stifled his spirit. One evening, he found himself back at the old oak tree where he had first met the wise man. He sat on that worn bench, reflecting on how profoundly he had changed. A sense of gratitude enveloped him. Samuel realized that the path of self-improvement was often filled with challenges, yet each hurdle enriched his journey with lessons of resilience, patience, and a deeper understanding of life. Those moments, both beautiful and difficult, had shaped him into someone who not only inspired himself but could also uplift others. He thought of how the elderly man shared his story, opening the door for Samuel to reimagine his struggles. In clear realization, he stood up, a smile dancing on his lips. He knew now that motivation was not a frail spark waiting to ignite. It was the flame grown from nurturing passion, embracing imperfections, and connecting with the world around him. As he walked away from the tree, he made a promise to himself to continue this journey, to strive, to create, and to connect. He carried that wisdom with him in each endeavor he embraced, unshaken by the complexities along his path, grateful every day for the opportunity to grow. In conclusion, let this story remind you that motivation isn't a mystical force that appears out of nowhere. It's cultivated through determination, the act of creation, and the connections we share with others. Embrace your imperfections, allow yourself to explore the journey, and find joy in the process. Remember, every step you take, no matter how small, leads you to new beginnings and endless possibilities. The essence of who you are and who you can become lies in your hands, so go forth and create.